Hello and welcome to Crypto Interviews. My name is Claudio and this is KryptosChain, the channel where I do crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews. And joining me today, I've got Jason from the YouTube channel Crypto Insights Journal, and he's here to talk about his journey with cryptocurrencies, how he got started. And not only that, but we'll have a general chat about crypto in general. We'll also talk about DeFi, we'll talk about blockchain games, some of the latest news, and just everything related with crypto, and just kind of get his input as well. It's always nice to get other people's ideas. So Jason, welcome to the show, and if you could please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, thank you for having me on, everyone. My name is Jason. I host the show Crypto Insights Journal. There's also the website Crypto Insights Journal. I'm on Twitter at DragonWolf Tech if you want to interact with me, and I really appreciate you having me on the show.
You're welcome, and the links can be found in the description as always, as with all interviews that I do, in case you're interested to check out the person that is on my show and just to see what they're all about and what they're doing. So when did you first get into cryptocurrencies? When did you first hear about it? That's the big question that is on all people's minds, right, when they talk to other people that are in the space.
Well, I first actually got into the space in 2016. I was reading Atlas Shrugged, and I was following this her name is Jennifer Grossman. She's head of the Atlas Society. It's a group that's dedicated to teaching Ayn Rand principles. And I asked her, because in the book there's a part where the people who say, you know, we're done with this society, we're out of here, you guys are on your own. Well, they go and form their own society in this other place called Mulligan's Gulch.
Yeah.
So my thought was, okay, well, how do you do commerce in that situation? Because you removed yourself from the main sense of economy, right? So in the book, they use gold. So, like, you know, if I do some work for you, you pay me this much in gold, and then if I buy something, I pay for it in this much gold. Well, I didn't think that was practical, you know, because who's going to be lugging around gold, you know?
Jewelries.
Right, exactly. You'd have to, right, you'd have to have something to cut it down to make it, you know, so that you can carry it and transact in it. Exactly. So at the same time, I had heard about Bitcoin, and that made more sense to me because it's something that you could do from your phone. And, you know, so if I do some work for you and I say, okay, well, that'll be 50 Satoshis or whatever, right? You send it to me, it confirms on the blockchain, I have it, and then I go about my day, you know? And so I asked Jennifer, what would she think of Bitcoin? Would Ayn Rand think of Bitcoin? And she said that we should ask Naomi Brockwell and Jeffrey Tucker, who are two of really known and popular and knowledgeable people on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And I started following them, and the rest is crypto history.
Wow. So did you go heavy like back then? Was it all Bitcoin, or were you thinking about alts as well? Because I mean, Ethereum was around back then too, right? I mean, when in 2016, was it like late 2016 or
like mid 2016, like June, July? But I looked at the market for a while before I bought any, because of course you had all the naysayers out there. You know, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi, it's this, it's that. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, I'm not going to sink this much money into this thing, because what if these guys are right? Yeah. You know, so I went and I bought like $20 worth of Bitcoin, because I had found out that you don't need to buy a complete Bitcoin to have Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, you could have fractions, yeah.
You got fractions. So I bought $20 worth. I opened a Coinbase account because that was the only way that I knew at the time. And, you know, it worked. I received it, and I turned around and bought. Someone was selling a book online, and I bought the book with the Bitcoin that I bought, and they sent it to me. And so it was like, done, right?
That was a very expensive book, wasn't it?
Well, when you consider what it's worth today, yes. But, you know, it proved that it was something that you could do commerce in, and it wasn't fake, So it led me into, diving deeper into the space. But my actual first crypto that I actually really deep dived on was Litecoin when it came out.
Okay.
And it was primarily because of the cost. It wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted a complete Bitcoin, but it wasn't very likely that I would get one. So I saw Litecoin and I was like, okay, that's much more manageable. I could buy, I think at the time Litecoin was like $15.
50.
So 15.
Okay, 15. Okay, much cheaper. Because when I first heard about it, was like $45 or something like that, and I was like, "Wow, that's still really cheap." That caught my attention as well. And I was saying that to Litecoin Lisa, who I've also had on this show.
Yeah, and
fan of it,
Litecoin's in the name, Litecoin fam. Now, and it. True enough, the price was is what got my attention, but getting into Litecoin actually made me want to look more into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was the first one. So it was like, okay, well, I may not be able to own a complete Bitcoin, but I can have Bitcoin. I can do the fractions of a Bitcoin, and then that way I can at least have some Bitcoin in my possession.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it all started.
Right. So how did you actually start the YouTube channel? What motivated you to start the YouTube channel? Or how come you didn't start it in 2016? I assume you are still new, still learning back then, like everybody else. But how come you didn't start it, like, I don't know, maybe 2017 and how come you decided to start it now? What changed?
Well, my channel has actually been around since late 2017, but I just haven't. I wasn't really certain of what I was going to be doing, so I put out some this is Bitcoin type videos, and they weren't really getting much traction, so I wasn't really motivated to do it. That number, that view count matters. So what I changed in about mid 2018 to late 2018 is I actually started talking to people. So instead of it being me telling you, it's us talking, right? So like what we're doing now. I still do some tutorial videos, like I just did one on how to make thumbnails for your YouTube channel, but primarily my channel is focused on our interacting with other people in the space and learning from them, because I tell people I don't know everything about this stuff. And people see you walking around with your Litecoin shirt or your Bitcoin shirt or whatever, and they assume you know all about this stuff. But there's so much to learn.
That's true, yeah.
And for me, it's easier to learn by talking to people who already know, as opposed to sifting through all the books. I mean, there's tons of books on blockchain and cryptocurrency on the market right now. But for me, it's easier for me to grasp a topic if I'm talking to someone who already knows about it, and then I can go back and read up to verify the things they told me. Is that do your own research thing, right?
Yeah, because I've noticed you take notes when you do these interviews as well.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And it's not. And sometimes people do that because they want to go back as you said this, but it's really that. Well, no, it's because you said something interesting and I want to follow up later.
You want to read more about it, basically.
Exactly.
Do some more research. Yeah.
Exactly. And I typically follow everyone who's been on my show on Twitter, because I don't like losing the connection. I think, especially if we have a good rapport, I think it's good to keep that channel open, especially when you think we meet at conferences. Like if you were at Litecoin Summit, I probably follow you on Twitter, and like the Bitcoin conference, I met a lot of interesting people there, and we talk on Twitter all the times to this day. And I'm going to go to the Bitcoin conference in March.
Yeah.
And so you basically build a community, and this is a great way to start that conversation.
Yeah, I've noticed that in the US, like I'm in Europe, but in the US, there are a lot of these crypto conferences. I know that they're usually in different states. They're not all like centralized in one state, right? But
Right.
I mean, the majority are where like Las Vegas, I think, was the one that like the World Crypto Con.
Right. Las Vegas, they just had one in Miami.
Yeah.
I typically go to, because I'm in California, so I typically go to either LA Blockchain Week or San Francisco Blockchain Week.
Yeah.
And then the furthest I've traveled was Vegas. I'm not ready to try to go to New York for consensus. That dollar amount is a little bit out of my price range.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, why do they make them so expensive? I mean, did you find out what could be the reason behind these high? Is it the costs, like renting the place and stuff? And are they really that posh, like inside or something? I don't know. What is it that what's the reason they really charge a fortune? Because I know they're really expensive. Some are like $500-$600 or even more, right? Depending on.
Well, you're not going to get an honest answer from the promoters. Yeah. So what I feel, and if anyone in the comments wants to correct me, I think it has more to do with the fact that they're trying to land bigger people to come. You know, like the Winklevoss twins and the Brian Armstrongs of the crowd. They're not trying to get me to come in there. They're trying to get those guys to come in there. Okay. And it's one of those things, if you can afford it, that ticket price shouldn't be an issue. Which is why I like the California, and that's the New York side, you know, and plus New York has more, I guess you would call it, no, things cost more in New York. So people don't think that it makes the difference. Like it's just another expensive thing to pay for.
It's the city that never sleeps, right? Is that what they call it?
Right. Yeah. Well, like California is expensive too, but California is not as expensive as New York unless you go to San Francisco. San Francisco is expensive.
Yeah.
But I think that the promoters in California, they aren't trying to cater to potential Wall Street people, and that's why the ticket prices don't tend to be as high. Right. You know, because when you're trying to get someone from JP Morgan, you have to make it seem like this isn't something just anybody can come to. Right? It
makes sense.
I mean, I don't
trying to filter out the majority, but like, yeah.
Right. And I don't like that, and I don't think that that's how you get the community involved, because, and the thing is, JP Morgan doesn't care about what we're doing because they're already going to do something similar. They've, as much as Jamie Dimon talks smack about Bitcoin, you better believe there's going to be a JP Morgan coin any year, any day now.
Yeah,
right?
A stable coin as well.
It'll be some type of stable coin, right?
Yeah.
And so trying to cater to people like that, that's not going to do you good in the long run. It's the people who are in the space already, the people in the trenches.
Yeah,
those are the ones that I think the conferences would be better, would do better to attract, as opposed to these whales and these, you know, billionaires or whatever that they're trying to attract.
Yeah. No, definitely. What about the upcoming Litecoin event organized by Bitcoin Ben in Texas? Are you going to attend that? That's in April, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's in April. April or May. Yeah, I was thinking about that. But right now, I'm pretty much just staying local. LA has a pretty good crypto scene. Because we have, I mean, the misconception a lot of people have about LA is that it's one big city, and it's not. There's several cities down here. So, you know, you have the San Diego crypto scene, you have the Long Beach crypto scene, you have the downtown LA crypto scene, and we all tend to get together.
Well, so the community is quite big over there, I guess, right? You've got meetup groups, right? Where you
right, yeah, and like Crypto NDO is out here.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she hosts a lot of meetups downtown. Like there's one next week actually downtown.
Have you been?
Oh yeah, it's great.
What about
she puts on a great.
Did you meet him as well? Because he's also there.
Yeah. We hang out a few times during LA Blockchain Week, and we played golf together at a tournament that they put on during LA Blockchain Week. It was actually on my birthday, and so I was like, well, let me go do this. And so it was pretty cool having your favorite crypto people, hey, happy birthday, giving you a hug, you know.
Could imagine, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But you know what, I've even people who aren't from here, the people that I've met have been great. I mean, I've met a lot of people from Canada, in Europe, you know, things like that. And I haven't run across really any bad eggs yet. I mean, I'm 100% positive they're there.
Yeah.
It's just I haven't personally come across them yet. You kind of get a feel for people, especially at the conferences. Yeah. The people who, okay, I'm going to stay away from this person. But by and large, everyone was really nice, really open to conversation. Everybody was cool to take a picture.
Yeah,
you know. And
I think even the people that like kind of give you that negative vibe, even they're pretty cool, like face to face. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to make a buck. Now, are they trying to make a buck the right way? That's another question, right? It's questionable, right. But at the end of the day, like they're still people, right? And to be honest, some of them, yeah, you could argue maybe they've got a hidden agenda. But yeah, I think that face to face, most people are usually okay, especially at conferences, right?
Right. Well, and a lot of the negativity that we find in crypto is on Twitter.
Yeah.
Somebody
people starts something and then it goes viral, right? Gets retweeted.
Right. It gets retweeted because they're trying to score points, right? But very few people will talk like that in person. You know, now true enough, you might have somebody who are just terrible people, and that's just who they are as a person. Yeah. But by and large, the people who do that on Twitter won't do that in real life because now we're face to face. And I've noticed that people tend to be a lot more, even people who don't agree with you, they're more likely to have a rational conversation with you face to face than across Twitter.
Yeah. No, that's true. They like to attract attention, basically, attention seekers, to be honest. That's
right, and Twitter loves that stuff. As much as Twitter claims that they want it to be civil and we want to get rid of all this, no, you don't. You don't want to get rid of it because then nobody will come back. I mean, come on, be honest.
That's true. Yeah. And what do you think about the let's kind of slide from this talk to the Bitcoin price, because everybody's talking about price now. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, do you trade yourself or do you talk to traders?
I talk to traders. When I was doing a bit of forex trading before I got into crypto. And to me, it was similar enough where I could understand how it works. But the difference between crypto trading and regular forex trading is the crypto market is way more volatile, as we all know.
Yeah.
And it can move at any moment. There's no really downtimes as far as when people can trade.
Yeah, it's manipulated a lot as well, because I don't know if you've noticed this trend. Like I've recently started learning how to trade, so I'm watching a lot of videos, usually on Forex, right? Because a lot of those traders really explain it well for beginners. Right. But what I've noticed with crypto is like when you're in that stage 4 downtrend, is like you're getting like 4 or 5 waves down on the 1 hour chart. Then when you're really, really down, you get a sudden spike up in green, right? So you get these extended wide range green bars, and then you get multiple wide range green bars and so on, and it just takes off, breaks previous day's resistance, and just keeps going higher. And I'm noticing this kind of repetitive chart movement that we're seeing with a lot of these alts, for example. Not so much with Bitcoin, but mostly with alts. And I start to wonder, could it be those pump and dump groups that are actually doing that? Because I know that there are signal groups, going around on Telegram and stuff, and they're like, pump this, and then like I'm part of all these different trading Telegram channels from different crypto projects that I've been reviewing, and I noticed that some people post signal group messages. They forwarded them from these signal groups onto these trading groups, and then they say, look guys, our coin's gonna pump tomorrow, look what these guys have been posting, and then funnily enough, the next day it does actually pump.
So, right. Well, the thing is, and this is one reason why I don't care for exchanges anyway, so I don't trade crypto anymore. And the reason why I stopped was because of things like that. And because you have the exchanges going down left and right, like the Quadriga, I think, was the last one that went down
in Canada. Yeah, that was
right. And then, of course, everyone remembers Mt. Gox. And
no, sorry, the Quadriga wasn't hacked. It was the CEO that died.
The CEO died. Right.
Yeah.
He died, and it was on his laptop.
Upbit was hacked. Upbit was the biggest exchange in South Korea.
Upbit, yeah. Well, and in any of those instances where you don't control your keys is a risk to your crypto. Exactly. So I don't want to put myself in that position. So, and by no means do I have a lot of crypto. I want to make that clear right now. I am not a whale in any sense of the word. But the Bitcoin I have, I don't want to lose.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right. So I just keep it in a wallet, and I primarily use it to buy things. You know, I don't have enough to be able to one day I'm gonna buy me a house. Oh no, I'm not. I might buy a T-shirt, but you know, and I use it for the commerce aspect. Like Vin Armani had a book, wrote a book called Self-Ownership, and it's a really good book. And he only accepts crypto for it. Wow. So I bought the book, you know. And like when we go to Bitcoin conferences and I want to buy a T-shirt or a new wallet or whatever, I have my, you know, mobile app, pay with Bitcoin, get what I want, and go about my day. Yeah. And the other thing that gets me about trading is that especially during 2017, 2018, you have a lot of people putting money into stuff they had no business investing in, and they got wrecked to the point where they were financially destroyed.
Yeah, that's
no. I tell people all the time, if you want to get into Bitcoin, and you don't want to do anything else, just get you an Edge wallet or an Exodus wallet or a Monarch wallet. Go to Cash App or Hand Cash, whatever you want. Get it through there, put it in your wallet, go about your day.
Yeah, or hardware wallet, just to be even safer.
A hardware wallet, or a paper wallet.
I mean, it's not so expensive anymore. It's like $50 or something. But if you have like over $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, it's well worth getting it, right?
Oh yeah. If you have, I would actually say if you have more than $500 in crypto, you need to look into a hardware wallet.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anything, I mean, but you'll have people who say that, $500, that's nothing. Well, it's something to a person who doesn't have another $500 to put into Bitcoin. So it would be a good idea for them to make it as secure as possible, even if it doesn't. Even if the crowd doesn't think that's that much money, it might be a ton of money to that person.
Exactly.
So you don't
know a person's background. That's true.
Exactly.
500 to you is 500 is a lot for somebody else. So what may not seem a lot to you. No, definitely, and that's the thing. I mean, the whole market itself as well. Like just to kind of get back to the price, seems to be manipulated a lot by whales, and is being controlled. But at the end of the day, we're seeing this not potential, but continuous growth, right? So I think long term we may see some potential spike, right? And if we go by historical data, with the previous Bitcoin halvings that we've had, like 4 or 5 months or even 6 months after the halving, we had a major price spike. So it could be the case that it might repeat itself, or it might even happen during the halving, just to create a kind of FOMO because of all the media attention we're going to get, right? So we could potentially expect that as well. It might be a fake out, who knows, but there's definitely a lot more attention compared to the previous halvings. So I think we need to take that into account too when we compare it to historical charts.
Well, you have a couple of things. So you have the halvening coming up, and people are accumulating while it's still cheap because they think that after the halvening happens that the price is going to double or whatever. Some of these other, like USDT, your stable coins, pay attention to those too. Because what happens is a lot of times people hedge their investment with stable coins. You know, and it being that it's a stable coin, it's not supposed to do the fluctuating. But like USDT is getting a lot of action right now. And, you know, but USDT has always been a controversial topic anyway, just because of the way people have used it in the past.
Yeah.
Like jumping in and out of the market with USDT when Bitcoin wasn't acting the way they wanted to act.
It's a safe haven, basically. Yeah.
It's a safe haven, right?
And it's got enough liquidity as well to use it, because there are other stable tokens and stable coins out there which are just not so liquid. So you're causing that huge price difference when you're buying in, if you're buying large amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have your alts that just pump in general, because people like a lot of alts have strong communities behind them.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have someone to buy that crypto. Like Litecoin has a strong community behind it. Ethereum, XRP, BSV, all of those cryptos have strong communities behind them. So there's always going to be someone to buy into that market. Right.
Yeah, even the low market cap ones, it's amazing. I mean, if you look at some of the low market caps, and I'm not talking about the ones that are on really bad exchanges, but like on exchanges like, for example, KuCoin, which is a decent enough exchange. They've been around since 2017, or maybe Bibox or other ones which are big enough, right? Not major, but big enough, and they have quite a lot of volts. I mean, even coins and tokens listed on there tend to have quite a big enough community. And when you're looking at coin market cap and you see like, wait, only 3 million market cap, can I really trust this? And I remember there was a YouTuber back when I first got into crypto who spoke about, I can't remember his name, but he spoke about market caps. And I remember you were saying, look, not financial advice, guys, but if something has less than 10 million market cap, just stay away from it, because it's probably going to die out. It's probably going to wreck you. And again, you could argue, yeah, maybe it's true, right? But it does depend a lot as well, I guess, right, on the team and how they perform and what kind of partnerships or collaborations they pull out of the hat, right? Because it could happen, right?
Well, yeah, and also, this is not financial advice, but well, like take Dogecoin for example, right? It was started as a joke, but now it has almost one of the biggest communities in crypto, and it's worth, I mean, even though Dogecoin by itself isn't that expensive as a crypto to buy, it has a market cap of, what's that, 298 million. That's pretty good for a joke coin. So it's that it's really. And it goes back to what we were talking about with the conferences. It's not the whales that these cryptos, these conferences, these businesses need to be focusing on. It's the community that could potentially be built around what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. And just to kind of move on and talk about the DeFi space now, that's the hot topic, right, in 2020, and I know it kind of started in 2019 too. What's your take on that? The fact that you can take loans in crypto, but the loans that you can take cannot be bigger than what you use as collateral. So how do you think that could be overcome in the future without requesting documents from people and actually giving them the freedom they deserve?
Well, I didn't really care for cryptos that talked about loans to begin with before DeFi became a thing, because I always question, how do you enforce the loan, right? And that the thing about traditional markets is that there's laws and things in place already. So if you give me a loan and then I say I'm not going to pay you back, you can take me to court.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or I could get put in collections and then I'll be hounded by collection agencies. Well, do you do that in crypto? Right? Like, what do you do when someone says, I'm not going to pay this loan back? Right? And that's always been my question about. Well, right. I mean, what's your collateral? And that's why I thought it was cool. And, I think that there's definitely something to the DeFi model, but I'm like, let me continue to do my research before I consider getting into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just me.
It's a bit of a, I don't know, it's a topic which is in the gray area at the moment. We don't really know.
Well, and it turns into an issue, and it's as crypto evolves and it solidifies as a financial entity in and of its own, where you have loans and you have it's beyond just trading Bitcoin for Litecoin. It's actual, you can
interoperability
right.
between the blockchain.
Once we get to that point, you're going to have. I don't know how decentralized you can be when you're moving that kind of money that has outside of crypto implications. And I'm sure they'll figure it out. I have trust in our space, because just the fact that we have Bitcoin today shows me that these guys and ladies are on it.
Yeah.
But those are questions that need to be asked. When you're going to say, I'm going to loan you this and I expect you to pay me back, how do you enforce that? And if we're talking about we don't do enforcing, well, I don't know how you're going to get your money back.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Now, what's your take on blockchain games? Have you heard about blockchain games? And I'm not talking about just crypto kitties, because I know that's how it started. You can't really call those games, right? I mean, they're just collectibles.
No, that's Beanie Babies. I mean, that's what that is. I like the idea of gaming on the blockchain. When I'm not doing YouTube, I actually write articles for tech websites and magazines. And one of the things that I wanted to explore was the gaming aspect of it, because esports there's no way to calculate just how much money is going to go into esports in the next 10 years, because it's already a well over $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
So if we can get the blockchain space into that space, then that's just another avenue where we can show the world what this stuff is capable of. DLive, for example, is a platform that does streaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they recently partnered with Tron. PewDiePie is on there, right?
Yeah.
And so there's some question about the validity of what they were doing, but now that Tron's involved, it's a little bit more. I guess you could say it's a positive move forward, just because Tron has a
big community.
Big community of people involved, and people aren't just going to take people's word for just assuming that they're telling you the truth. People are going to scrutinize it. But you're going to have more platforms like that coming out, because it's a model that, similar to YouTube, how you had YouTube to begin with. Yeah. Now you have DTube, BitTube,
Library as well.
Library,
yeah.
Right, and you have other platforms. So you're going to see more platforms doing that for gaming as we move down the road. In the meantime, we have a lot of people creating just games you can play. There's one called Infinity Fleet that Samson Mao is behind, and it's it's kind of like EVE Online, where you're in a spaceship fighting, doing space battles.
Yeah.
And so you have that. So you have people building these blockchain-based games that hopefully the general public will get into, because I think it helps adoption when the general public doesn't know it's crypto related. It just looks like everything else that they've dealt with.
That's true. Yeah.
And also, because it doesn't scream Bitcoin, whatever, people are less likely to give it the negative connotation that the media tries to put on crypto. Right? I'm just playing a video game. And,
yeah,
right?
That's very true.
So, unfortunately, a lot of the negativity that's aimed at crypto it's orchestrated by the governments, by the banks, and the media is complicit in it. And it's on us to show not them, but the average person that that's not true. Yeah. This is what you can use it for.
Yeah. No, that's great actually. But the thing is, like, they'll always find some kind of I don't know, some kind of excuse or some kind of reason to say that it's a scam and that they're just trying to take your money. For example, like Engine Coin, like I consider that a solid project, but even they have a flaw. For example, they charge a whole lot of money for a gaming company to mint a collectible on the Ethereum blockchain using their software development toolkit. So the fact that they charge so much money for a collectible could be used against them, right? I mean, companies could say, and I'm not talking about companies on the blockchain like competitors, but just like gaming companies, they could say, well, why are you charging so much money? How can you motivate me to use your product if you're charging so much money? You're charging $10 for one collectible, right? That's a lot. And if I want to build a game with hundreds of collectibles, you're charging me thousands and thousands, and I'm a startup with 2 devs or 3 devs or something, and I can afford to pay everyone and pay this, and you know where I'm coming from.
Right.
So I think that it's those flaws. If they're too obvious, I think that can really go against them, right?
Well, now the only thing though about that is the gaming industry has no. Well, I mean, if they're being honest, they really can't fault platforms like Engine for doing that, because right now the gaming industry is filled with microtransactions.
Yep. Right.
So you can play the game, but if you want the game to go further, you have to pay this amount of money. Which to me, how is that better? In fact, I think it's worse, because it's kind of like a bait and switch. Right? You tell me this game is free, but then you make me pay to do other stuff within the game. So saying that Engine has to charge a fee, or does charge a fee, unless it's just an absorbent amount, I think that's just standard operation for gaming right now.
Yeah, no, I agree that they should charge some kind of money because they need to keep the business going. But I think that $10 per collectible, and knowing that the game developer needs to create a lot of collectibles for a game to function, is going to be pretty painful right to the pocket. So I think they need to work on that, in my opinion. But I really, really support the company and the project and the vision, like what they've achieved so far, and with the Samsung collaboration and trying to integrate all that. But I mean, just the cost, I think, is just way too high, and I think that if they don't work on that, they're gonna have a competitor coming from behind.
Right. Well, yeah, you do definitely have to address it for sure, because if someone comes out that has a lower cost point for gamers, of course people are going to flock to that instead.
Exactly.
And then you also have the issue of these games. Okay, so if you're a crypto company that's making a game, and then that game issues tokens, are those tokens being used by the company to further its is it to build profit? Is it to build out the company? Is things like that? Because you still have a lot of people trying to say all of this is securities, right? Yeah. So when you, when you are giving people these things that can actually be used outside of the game, that question may come up, and if it does come up, then did you just make all of your players holders of securities?
Yeah.
And so that's that. And I think that's something that I don't know if it's not that it doesn't get talked about, but that it doesn't get considered.
Yeah. No, basically the way it works is like if you're a game developer, if you're a company, right, you're trying to build a game, you can create collectibles, like say a gun, and you can make that gun unique, which would be a non-fungible token. So that gun can then be traded on an open market within the Engine wallet or Engine ecosystem with another gamer. But what you could also do is you can actually melt the gun for Engine to get Engine tokens, which can then be sold on an exchange. So the game developer not only has to pay to create the item on the blockchain as a non-fungible token, but they also need to pay to kind of have like collateral on the price, on the value of that gun, if the gamer decides to melt the item, so that they can actually receive Engine tokens for melting it. It's not going to be worth as much as selling it on a market, right? Because people are willing to pay more, but the fact that they need to do that for hundreds of items, right, it's going to end up costing them a lot, because there will be people that will just melt them, right, and they'll just get the Engine tokens.
Get the Engine token,
so I think it's like people are going to argue, like, why do they charge a fortune for these pre-sale costs? Like, for example, they're selling skins and stuff like that before they launch the game. which can then craft all these rare items, and they're charging like thousands of dollars for a skin. And I know one YouTuber, I'm not going to say who, but he was actually complaining about that as well, and I can understand why. I too would be very annoyed with that. But then if you complain about that and think about it, okay, well, if they don't charge so much, then how can they sustain their business? Because then they can't sustain it when they have to pay so much to create these collectible items and to then have the collateral in engine tokens as well in case people decide to melt them. So I think it's like there are a lot of pros and cons at the moment with blockchain gaming. Like, I'm really passionate about the space. I used to be a gamer myself. I don't really have time to play them anymore, but like the idea I think is great. It's just annoying because you've got this cost situation, like the thing that kind of blocks gamers from developing.
Well, there's so much that more to consider when you're dealing with blockchain games, like, because like you said, you can melt the gun down and use it as actual currency instead of, you know, an in-game token. So exactly. On the surface, I think that there's a lot of potential with blockchain gaming. I really do. But those other issues need to be ironed out moving forward. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Like maybe, but you know, I don't want to put anything out there, because if you tell people that they can't take their crypto off of this thing and put it somewhere else, they're going to lose their minds. So, you know, so we're not going to go there. But it's still a concern that these companies need to think about.
Definitely. No, and we'll see how the space moves, because it is progressing rapidly as well. And we've got company-wise a Ubisoft. They've recently announced that they want to support blockchain gaming companies with funding. Yeah, that was actually something interesting that I found out about recently. And I know there's one company who has built a game on Engine, and they've actually applied to Ubisoft to get some funding just so that they can continue their development. So that would be interesting to see how that progresses, because we're seeing more
that's going to be very interesting.
Giants.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting once it gets out into the broader space. Yeah,
definitely. And just as a last topic that I really wanted to cover before this, the end of this, is about the Craig Wright situation in Bitcoin SV. I'm sure you've probably heard about it. He was supposed to fork out the keys today on the 3rd of February, but he didn't do it. And apparently he has just been asking a lot of questions in court and things like that. It wasn't very clear from the articles that have been posted today. I was actually meant to do a news video to talk about this and just get people's opinion as well on it. But apparently he is like getting like 6,000 patents or something, which is related with basically preventing further forks of Bitcoin, so that people don't fall for scams in the future, so that he can have ownership over all that, so nobody can basically fork Bitcoin ever again, because Craig Wright will own the patents. So what's your take on that, and what do you think about Bitcoin SV in general? I'm just curious to get your take on it, because I know that there's this disagreement between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV ever since they forked. But
yeah, well, the main battle in crypto is between the three Bitcoins. As far as the patents go, I mean, you can own a patent on anything you want. If you can afford to do it, you can get a patent on anything you want. Now, how that relates to his claim of being the person who created Bitcoin, well, just because you own the patent doesn't mean you created what you own the patent on. You know, there's plenty of inventions in the world where the person who actually invented it doesn't own the patent to it. You know, like and so that doesn't prove anything for me. You know, just because you have the patent, even if he had, like with the keys, right? He was supposed to have the keys in his package, right?
Yeah.
So even if he had the keys, that doesn't prove anything. That just means he has the keys. You know, so you can have 1,000 patents on various things of Bitcoin. It's not going to change the fact that it still doesn't prove that you are the person who created that Bitcoin. So what you end up having is the whole, I'm going to own all these patents, so any future Bitcoins that come out, they have to adhere to the patent that I have. Right? So moving forward, like, I might not be able to claim the patent on Bitcoin, but I can claim the patent on Bitcoin, 2.0, right? So it becomes it's basically just a way of stamping his name on any future development to Bitcoin. Now, as far as Bitcoin SV goes, actually, I don't mind Bitcoin SV as a crypto, and I don't mind, just like I don't mind Bitcoin Cash. You know, when you're trying to do things with crypto, when you're trying to buy things, for example, sometimes you need to use these other things because the Bitcoin network does tend to be kind of slow.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad or so slow that it's not usable, but these alternatives are faster.
Exactly.
And, you know, there's an app called Hand Cash, which is basically the Bitcoin SV version of Cash App, right? Which is BTC. And works just fine. Works, you know, I can send it out to my wallet just like I can with my Cash App. And, you know, I don't really get into the whole I'm going to stock up on these different cryptos. So if someone wants to send me some, hey, yay, thank you. Right? But
could be anything. I mean, if you want to send me Ethereum, send me Ethereum. If you want to send me Litecoin, send me Litecoin. Yeah.
Well, because I'm crypto agnostic when it comes to everything. I mean, of course, you have Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as everything else, I don't have any. All right, you want to send me XRP? Send me XRP. You want to send me Monero? All right, fine. I'm not going to tell you, oh no, I'm not going to deal with that kind of stuff, because how do you make money when you turn your nose up at money? You know, so I don't know. I'm kind of, and I know people in the BSV camp, and they've been great to me, so I don't hold any ill will towards anyone in there, and I hope it's you know the same going the other way.
Yeah, they're all people, and they're all bag holders as well, to be honest, because that's how it is. You know, everybody like wants to. I mean, they can be nice people. It doesn't mean they're bad people. They're just bag holders. So of course they're gonna love their project, and they're gonna talk about it to everyone.
And
it's like with Ontology, for example. Ontology is close to my heart. I've been following Ontology closely. I know a lot of things about Ontology. I've been paying close attention to everything that's going on. So it's kind of the same. I'm sure you have, apart from Litecoin, you probably have some other favorite one as well, I guess, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing about it is we're all, at the end of the day, bag holders. And the more toxic a person is probably the bigger bag holder they are, because they're trying to pump their bags, and that's where that comes from. And so I fell on the bandwagon of talking crap about SV people, but I don't do that anymore, because they're passionate about what they believe and what they want, just like BTC people are passionate about what they believe and what they want. At the end of the day, there's still banks and governments that want to step on all of us. So why are we fighting amongst ourselves? You know, and that's one reason why it's the tribalism, right? And that's one reason why when the whole Craig Wright situation comes along, I tend to avoid the conversation of is he Satoshi? And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't matter, because you have Ethereum, you have Litecoin, you have all these other cryptos that you can deal with. Even if he were Satoshi, that has nothing to do with what you're doing. Yeah. Right? And also, he can claim to be Satoshi till he's blue in the face until something happens that just screams, this is Satoshi, you know, the clouds part and the rays come down from heaven. and this is Satoshi.
And the godlike
following. Right. I mean, it doesn't change anything, and it's just about what you believe. If you want to believe that he's Satoshi, go for it. I'm not going to crap on your belief.
You know, I was making a joke the other day about the Genesis wallet, that what if the actual private key, the secret to unlocking the private key, is actually in the white paper.
Right, like it's in there's like
and somebody manages to crack it, and they're like, I'm Satoshi. Look, I'm going to do this in a live stream. I've just unlocked the Genesis. I'm sending Jason 1 Bitcoin from the Genesis wallet. Imagine the godlike following you receive then. Like all the news media, everyone coming over to your door, you know, trying to find out who you are.
And when you think about it, that wouldn't actually be that surprising if he did that. If he actually hid it it's like a cipher. Yeah. And it's in the white paper. Yeah. Right? And we're all over here fighting about block sizes and who can scale better. But no. Yeah. If you read the paper, you might be a rich person.
Exactly. You never know. I mean, it could be just a secret in the book, right? Like the Da Vinci Code.
Like the Da Vinci Code, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my thing and that's why I don't begrudge anybody what they like.
Yeah.
If you like BTC, like BTC. If you like Bitcoin Cash, like Bitcoin Cash. If you like Bitcoin SV, like Bitcoin SV. It's not my job to tell you what to like.
Yeah.
It's my job as a content creator and a technology journalist to just tell you what's there.
Exactly.
And let you make your own decision.
Yeah.
And I will never, never say never, of course, but I will never tell someone who likes a coin that they shouldn't just, don't bother with that. Unless there's enough evidence to prove that that's some type of scam.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you do have a lot of scams in crypto, so you do have that, but it's also your money.
Yeah.
So if you want to invest in that, I'm not going to stop you. I'm just going to tell you what I know. Yeah. So, and XYZ, and then make your decision. But exactly. It's your money. It's not my job to tell you what to do with your money.
No, that's true. And it should always be like do your own research. But I know that people would watch like a number of YouTubers doing reviews on a specific company, and then they'll make their decision and start investing. And I know that used to be really big back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, right? 2017, 2018. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like things.
Well, I'm glad the ICO days are over.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that got out of hand, like terribly out of hand. Well, I mean, BitConnect couldn't have happened if it wasn't for the ICO market. I
now
think.
We've got the IEOs, so we'll see how legit they are. And now we've got Binance centralizing everything and them controlling all the IEOs, because all the IEOs that happen on Binance are like, wow, these are popular, these are important, we need to get in. And I think that their lottery system and the way they do it, I think that CZ is actually really good at marketing. And he's reached that level now where he can afford to be like that, right? Because he's just so popular now. And
well, that's like you have, and it goes back to the whole Bitcoin SV thing. CZ, Justin Sun, Craig Wright, Brock Pierce are great marketers.
Yeah,
they can explain in very clear ways why you should go into what they're offering or proposing, right? And and you need that. You need that in a growing market. You need people to be the trumpet players that bring attention into the space. It's great when they are also the people who build it.
Yeah.
Right. Like a lot of people they go to the media for their information on crypto. But what's good about crypto is that if you want to talk to the person who actually invented it, it's possible to talk to Charlie Lee. It's possible to talk to Craig Wright. It's possible to talk to CZ. It's not always likely, but it's possible.
Yeah, Vitalik too for Ethereum.
Vitalik, right? Yeah. Well, and like to contrast that to the fiat market, Jamie Dimon's not going to respond to my tweet. Right, but Brian Armstrong might, right?
Yeah,
Eric Voorhees might, Calvin Ayers might.
Yeah, or look at John McAfee. I mean, who would have thought that I could get him on my channel? Like I only had like 800 subscribers at the time when I got him on, and people are surprised. It's like, I'm surprised to see John McAfee on your channel, man. You've only got 800 subscribers. How is that possible?
Well, that's the thing, is that you're. But you know what it is that they understand too the need to get their message out. So, and I think McAfee is a great example of a person who the media gave him a bad reputation as a erratic person. He's all over the place. What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And the crypto space, because we by and large look up to him for who he is and what he's done, he has a more I don't know if you want to say rehabilitated image, but a cleaner image.
Yeah, in the crypto space, yeah.
In the crypto space.
Although he has done a lot of wrong too in regards to shilling certain projects, like example of tattoo he had and things like that. I mean, he's not clean, right? You gotta admit that. And he knows he's not clean as well.
Well, no, but at the end of the day, most of us have been guilty of shilling something.
Exactly. Yeah,
nobody's perfect. So if we're going to be honest about it, we can't hold that against him.
No, that's true.
True. So
that's true. No, thank you very much for that. It was a great interview and talk that we had, and we found out more about you. But I do want to close it off with the final question, like I always ask at the very end of this interview, and that is, what is one thing in life that you truly desire?
Actually, the one thing that I truly desire is just for people to be happy. I mean, that sounds corny, but you have a lot of miserable people in this world right now. And it's just, if we could just do something about that, and I don't know what would do it, but if we could just get people to not be as stressed, to not be as at each other's throats all the time. And this is primarily geared towards crypto Twitter and crypto in general, because we're trying to change the world, but we have so much hostility in us from whatever that it makes it hard to do. And if we could just deal with that, put people on a brighter footing, I think we can get a lot more done.
Wow. No, powerful response. I love that. That was good. And actually, one of my colleagues is always smiling, and I did stop him one day and asked him, "Sorry, I'm just curious. How come you're always smiling? No matter what anyone says, you're always smiling." He's like, "Life is short, my friend. Life is short. You gotta smile." So I mean, He's got a point. I mean, it was a short response, but he's right. I mean, that's really it. Like, what's the point of stressing yourself over something, because you're not gonna change it, right? Even if you stress yourself, things aren't gonna change. Things have already been done. What you could do is work towards a better future, right? So
Well, I mean, and we always make that joke about Bitcoin fixes this, right? Well, as with money, Bitcoin won't make you happy. The things you can do with it, the people you can help with it, that'll make you happy. So when you're, it's something, it's a tool, right? It's programming, it's code, it's math. It's not supposed to be the source of your happiness.
Yeah.
Right. So if Bitcoin is the source of your happiness, you may want to seek professional help.
Good. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Jason. I really enjoyed that. It was really good, and hope to talk to you again in the future. Hopefully we can break down on further news as they come along in the crypto community and the crypto space. Thank you very much for joining, and have a lovely day. And just a reminder, in the description of the video you can find a link to Jason's channel, Crypto Insights Journal, for those interested to check him out. Please make sure to subscribe, and also don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it, and of course let us know your opinion in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care, everybody.